Hello and welcome to the Play Up Podcast, episode 4. We're recording this on Wednesday, the 20th of March. Pompey are still top of the table. Fantastic. After what can only be described as a terrific result away at Peterborough on last Saturday, a 1-0 win, Cassini Yengi scoring the main goal. And Yengi also getting 2 on the Tuesday midweek game prior to that against Burton when he got a well-deserved and much belated start. So, gentlemen, how are you feeling? Pompey at top, position number 1 on 83 points with 7 games to go. How's them tummies?
Well, been in worse positions, haven't we?
We have. That is very true. That's very true. In recent and long history, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Last couple of games, isn't it? Another 2 victories. Seeing that gap open up over third place so much as well gives us a really good, exciting end to the season now, I think. So with a few difficult fixtures obviously coming up, but I think I'm going into them without 100% expectation, but confident that we can do this.
Yeah, sure. I don't want to. I don't want to start sucking each other off just yet, to coin a phrase my old man used to say. But we are in a very good position. It's ours to lose, but we do have the toughest run-in known in the history of man, and I think if you now is definitely not the time to complacent. Every single game is a cup final. That's a cliche, but for us, it really is. It really is. If we want to win the league, I think promotion, that's looking good, isn't it? I think I read that Peterborough had to win every game, is it now, in order to so I mean, we are in a fantastic position for promotion, but being Pompey, we want to win the league. And that's if you compare our run-ins to derbies, I'd much rather have theirs.
So I've done my own version of the fixture computer, and we'll come into that a bit later in the episode. So I've done some predictions and some totting up of points, and I won't reveal all just yet, but I can tell you when we will get promoted and when we will win the title. If things go our way.
The suspense is already killing me.
That sounds great.
No, it's gonna be good. I spent a good hour doing this, and I've been very generous to all sides about the results. But if things go roughly the way as predicted, then we will have an end to a great season. So we last weekend, not only did Pompey have a terrific result, but you've got to say that possibly the other 3 teams who were challenging us, so Derby, Bolton, and Barnsley, have. Well, certainly Barnsley slipped up with their 0-0 draw against Cheltenham. That was quite a surprise, although obviously Cheltenham did beat us in January. But they were the team that I was really worried about, looking at their run-in and the fact that they had one more game in hand than Bolton and Derby even. They've really slipped up with that. That was a home banker. They really should have won that game. And I think that result has, touch wood, taken them out of it. And I think it is only 2 from 3 that can now go up. So Barnsley, as you say, Jamie, Peterborough have to win all 8 games that they've got left in order to even have a chance of getting promoted. And that obviously relies on Pompey, Derby and Bolton having absolute stinkers in their last 6-7 games. So that's not going to happen. All 3 of us are doing really, really well, only dropping points here and there. Pompey not dropping any points, really, if you look at it. It's been a fantastic last 12 matches. I think it's difficult. It's difficult to not get excited, really, isn't it? I mean, it's the Peterborough win just absolutely knocked my socks off. I just was not expecting that. The first 20 minutes was pretty dodged, to be honest. Peterborough were playing us off the park. And as we've done in much of the season, we just hung in there and did not let them score. And we took one of the 2 or 3 chances that we probably had, which is the sign of a great team, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, they had quite a lot of possession, Peter, didn't they? Compared to us, is what it was. Certainly what it felt like watching it. But I don't remember more than one particularly, shot on target that Norris had to save. And so I think kind of like we had that slightly more cutting edge, and it was just the clinical strike from Yengi that was the difference. And it's just fantastic to be able to see that we've got that depth of squad and we can change it around. And we actually played both strikers up front together. It makes a really exciting end to the season, and probably keeps a lot of the other teams guessing as to how we're going to come at them as well.
I think the crossbar saved us in the first half, didn't it? There was that one there, yeah, squeaky bum time that was.
I think that perfectly placed crossbar. Yep.
You're probably right. I think any lower, and probably Norris might have got his hand to it. I don't know, because it was hit ferociously from quite short range, but it was straight up. But yeah, possibly lucky there. But apart from when they got one cut back from the byline and the guy flicked it across the box, that was really it, to be honest. I mean, they had, as you said, Tim, they had a lot of possession, and a lot of danger. Probably what they would term dangerous attacks, but they didn't really result in more than one or two clear-cut chances. So, and I think that's what this team does, isn't it, Pompey? It's what Mousinho has drilled into them. Keep it out, hang in on the games when you're not really firing on all cylinders, and then when you get the chances, take them. And that's certainly what they did Saturday. So, really,
it was good to see Swanson come back as well. I have to admit, I thought I was a little bit worried to begin with because I've been such a big fan of Rafferty this season. I think he's been magnificent recently. And seeing Swanson come in, you're thinking like, okay, he's only just had that few minutes in the game before. We know his quality, but you just sort of wonder if he's going to be rusty or not. But it just shows Mousinho's got it right again, and he's got that good pace in him, Swanson, and it didn't half help.
Isn't there that bizarre that Mousinho quote that 90% of the time Zach Swanson's our best player?
When did he say that?
Yeah, I've heard him say that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think he regards him really highly and trusts him. I think that's what Mousinho does, is he trusts his players, and he trusts them when he puts them in certain situations and puts pressure on them, that they'll deliver, and they are. Take Yengi, for example. It's fair to say that I wouldn't call it a backlash against Bishop, but fair to say that there's much more pressure on Bishop to start scoring more regularly or creating chances and getting on the end of chances. But as we've seen with Yengi, especially on Saturday, he can create a chance. So, he wasn't flying into the box on the end of a cross. He actually received the ball 20, 25 yards out, step over, beat his man, got goal side of him and smashed it in the bottom. And there was that amazing Ronaldinho-like dribble as well, with about 2 or 3 minutes to go, where he beat three players, went out to the corner flag, and then came back and beat the same three players, and just managed to squeeze a shot in on target.
After that goal,
he couldn't seem to get the ball off him.
He just seemed to become world class after that goal, didn't he? Like, his confidence just must have soared. And I think I read in the press this week that he'd never experienced a crowd reaction like that in all of his games. And I think it turned him. This could be a pivotal moment. You never know.
I think he's got confidence and abundance, hasn't he, as well? I mean, that penalty he took.
Oh God, yeah. What's the word you use for that, Scott?
Well, we'll cover that in a minute. We'll go back to Burton in a bit. But
I had a panic, I'll tell you that.
Panenka. After there's the Czechoslovakian guy. He did it in a European final. We'll cover that in a bit. We'll go back to Burton in a bit. But so, like you say, Yengi does seem. I mean, I didn't know he was 25. I thought he was a bit younger than that. I sort of had a look at some of his stuff to do with Australia today. So there was an interview with him because he's gone to Australia, obviously, for the 2 World Cup qualifiers they've got over the next 10 days. And he's saying he's hoping he's going to get more starts and more minutes at international level because of what he's been doing with Pompey. So I think if and when we do go up, I think he is someone who I think could find his feet in the Championship. Bishop is an interesting one. I don't know whether he's found his level at League One. I think he could be one of these players who could be kind of in between lower Championship and League One. I mean, I'm not trying to do him a disservice or anything. I just think that his game is not as expansive as a more modern type player like Yengi, who's got the feet to do it. Good feet for a big man, as they always say. And that's not a slight. That's something you should have these days. Any height of player, any type of player, small, medium, large, whatever, they all should have good feet. And Yengi's certainly got good feet. So it'd be interesting to see who would be number one next year if we didn't make another, signing or something. But getting ahead of herself a little bit. So let's go back to Burton then. Obviously, I couldn't make it. The atmosphere sounded absolutely fantastic. Yengi got his third start under the lights, which I was hoping for, and did say on social media that I hoped he did get it, and he got it, and bagged 2 goals.
You
So
did.
what more can you
I saw
ask?
you predict that.
What more could you ask?
Yeah. And seconds later, he was announced as. I thought you should buy a lottery ticket, Scott.
I think I could read Mousinho's mind. That's the third time he's done it. It's not unusual, is it? He started him against Bolton, and he performed really well and got a goal. The last time he started as well, he got another goal, and then 2 on Tuesday night against Burton. I don't think there's any doubt that if he starts, he can score goals and he can lead the team. It's brilliant.
I've read today that he's going to rotate them for the rest of the season. So that's there's that, and so Tim and I were both there at Burton, and I can tell you it was no Oxford, but it was a good atmosphere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of slightly tempered on Tuesday nights, isn't it? Because most people have not been in the pub for 2 hours beforehand, have they?
True,
You have very limited drinking time on an evening match unless you finish work really early. So there's not so much liquid boisterousness going on as there might be on a 3 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. So but I was watching on telly, and very jealous that you were there and I was not. But what a performance by the team again! And I mean that their goal was a bit was a bit of a lack of concentration, but unlike Oxford away, we've seen that we are capable of closing teams down and defending the lead.
I genuinely think their goal was because Abu Kamara came off on the north stand, so opposite where he's supposed to come off, and then did a lap of honour around past the Fratton end, and everyone was singing and clapping, and the entire pitch, everyone was just watching Abu, and the goal went in because of it.
Surely the players were watching him go off and clapping and singing.
Well, I was certainly distracted.
Well, it wasn't that great a goal. Possibly Norwich should have kept it out. But anyway, we kept it down to 1 and we won the game, so that's brilliant. So I know you don't want to do this, Jamie, but we've got to go on to the possibility that Pompey could get promoted and the possibility that Pompey could win the title, or in my eyes, probability. So give us your fears, mate, first, and then we'll try and comfort you with some stats. Yeah,
I don't want to be accused of flapping or anything like that. But I want, I'm I don't want to throw caution to the wind either. I just want us to remain focused, and I want to make sure that that we win these games. But if you look at, Derby have got Wycombe. Okay, so that's technically Wycombe are over the last 10 games. Wycombe are 4th in the form table, and I'll come back to that. That in a minute. Derby have got Northampton away, and Northampton's is a derby for Derby. They've got us. They've got Leyton Orient. They've got Cambridge, and they've got Carlisle. To me, I mean that's that's 2.5 tough games for them. I put down. You look at us. You look at our running. We have got Barnsley, top 5. You've got Wycombe, top 4 in the form table. You've got Derby, who are right behind us, champing at the bit. You've got Shrewsbury. There's no easy games, but out of the ones I'm looking at, that's possibly it. You've got Bolton, who are 3rd place. Then you've got Wigan, for all intents and purposes, they are going to treat our game as a cup final because they like beating us, and they've had a tough season, but they've proven themselves. They've done well. Their form's caught back up, and then we've got Lincoln, who are absolutely on fire. And so to me, I just look at that lineup and I'm like, oh dear. So there's a gulp, I'd much rather have Derby's fixtures than ours. And so I've got every ounce of faith in this team. I think Jeff, who sometimes on this said we've only lost 4 games all season, he's quite right. He absolutely is, but I'm just not going to bet the farm on it, and I bloody hope that we that we win. But that's where I'm coming from. I'm just a bit scared.
Yeah, totally get you not wanting to tempt fate on any of these things.
Right? Yeah.
Tim, what's your hopes, fears? What do you think?
Well, exactly. Like I said just then, I don't want to tempt fate on anything like this. You never want to jump the gun on this. We've been Pompey fans for so long that you never want to do that at all. But I just feel that rather than going in complacently to these games, I'm going in with an air of confidence that we've just seen this team come through so many tests across this season. We've seen them, kind of, if they've got a backs to the wall game, we've managed to ride it out like a bit of that Peterborough game. That's the sort of form we're in. The personnel actually in the starting 11 changes, the mentality of the squad and the ability to defend and create and somehow get something out of it seems to continue. So whilst I totally get the fixtures, I'm also kind of like feel that we're almost better at home against these bigger teams. We've got Derby at home. I'd rather have 5 points ahead to the fixtures we've got, and one of them being Derby at home, because I think that's a crucial game for us. If we can beat Barnsley and Derby, which I think we can, then hopefully we're on our way. But yeah, we'll see if that quote comes back to haunt me later in the season.
So I'll go through what I did this afternoon for an hour, and so I've got us down as. So, like I said earlier, I've been generous with all three teams. I've not hedged on losses where I think they might draw, and vice versa, draw when they might lose. So I've got. So we're all obviously currently sitting pretty at 83 points. Derby County 78, Bolton Wanderers 74, all on 39 games. So I've discounted Peterborough and Barnsley because, as they said themselves, they've pretty much got to win all 8 of their last games to even have a chance. So I've discounted them because I think it's really only us three for the 2 places. Now, for Pompey, first reason for the 3 results, I've got us down as a win against Wickham, a draw against Derby, and a win at home at Shrewsbury. Now that gives us 90 points. So technically, I think we are up after, if those 3 results come in or better, then we are up against Shrewsbury on that home game, because
is that Saturday night as well?
Yeah. So the way that I've done it is that I've done Bolton. So Bolton will get. Look at it. Just done. They can only finish on 89 points based on the results I've done. So I've gone for draw, win, draw, win, draw. Okay, on their results. And Derby, I've gone win, draw, and they win their last 4 and get 17 points. But that still drops them 2 points behind us. So if all my predictions come right, promotion 90 points. 90 points is good enough for promotion. So that's Shrewsbury. Well, obviously is not mathematically possible then. So, no one's going to announce us as promoted. But then if we then win at home, last game is it Wigan? It is, isn't
Lincoln.
it?
Oh yeah, last game
is Lincoln, isn't it?
Last game at home is Portsmouth versus Wigan.
Yeah, you're right.
If we win that, we are champions.
I so hope you're right.
Right. So that's what I've done. I know Jeff's just posted in our chat about the supercomputer results, which I'll have a look a bit later and see if I can pull them up. But the last time I saw the supercomputer results, it had us on. It had Derby winning the league with us second, but us promoted anyway. So, Jamie, we are going to get promoted.
Computers. You and I both work with computers, and we know they lie. They lie. That's what they do. We wouldn't have jobs if computers didn't lie.
I didn't lie to myself, though, and I all did it up in my brain up here.
Cool. What exactly is a supercomputer? Is it just a guy with Excel spreadsheet or something like that?
It is.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they used to obviously be the size of living rooms, but not anymore. So, a supercomputer can be in your pocket, technically. That's where I'm coming from with my confidence. That's what I've done.
Do you not think, being typical Pompey, we will lose one game somewhere along the line, though, just to make us all a little bit anxious?
possible, but then we could smash Derby 3-0 on the Tuesday night, and then lose to Shrewsbury at home.
Shrewsbury, exactly.
Who knows? But I genuinely think we'll finish on either 95 or 96 points, and that is enough for us to win the title. 90, I think, is enough for promotion. But based on if Bolton hadn't drawn on Saturday and won, then it would be a lot closer. But like I said earlier, they've really slipped up with that point at home against Cheltenham. That was a big blow for their automatic promotion chances. So, and also obviously losing to Derby 1-0. So I think the way that we're playing, we're not going to lose games. Maybe one, we're not going to lose games, and we'll get over the line for promotion. Title, that's going to be a lot closer. There's going to be a point or two in it, I think, for the title. But I think for promotion, I think we just need 3 wins and we're there.
So I've just read Jeff's link here, and there is apparently, according to the Supercomputer, there is a 72.8% chance that Pompey will win the league. There you go.
72. So if that's win the league, not just what's the percentage chance of promotion? Then it must be a lot higher.
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to skim through. Yeah, I don't know.
It's 99% for me. And you can throw me off the end of the pier if we don't get promoted. Okay, that's a promise.
We'll have to video that if it happens.
Yeah, we definitely will. So, what was next on the queue? So, Jamie, you posted something in the chat about Yengi, because I thought you love a stat, so I thought you were going to bring in a stat. No?
Yeah.
Go on then.
Yengi's the best striker in the world, apparently. Well, I like an exaggeration too.
Well, we know that.
So I just saw it randomly today. Cassini Yengi is the most amount of goals per minute in the whole of the British leagues. Well, the whole of the English leagues, anyway. Yeah, he's beaten old beautiful Haaland and everyone, even Jamie Vardy. Yeah, he's beaten them all. He's 89 minutes per goal. Cassini Yengi.
Is that just league games as well?
I would have to double check my sources. No idea, mate. No idea.
It says best minutes per goal rates in 2023 for all players with 5+ goals. So it's Yengi, Josh Sargent from Norwich, who's 91 minutes. Jamie Vardy, 95 minutes. Who's that? Mikey Johnston of West Brom, by the looks of it. And Erling Haaland down in a lowly 5th. Who'd have thought it?
Have you seen who's sick, though, and who he plays for?
Yeah. Oh, God.
But we'll try and ignore that.
Oh, God. It's a ram.
Just for the listeners, it's Waghorn. So, yeah, we'll try and ignore that. Let's hope he stops scoring. So
who's a Derby player for the shit listeners?
Right. What are we going to talk about next, gents?
Did you see the results from the supporters survey?
I didn't look in detail. So you'll have to forgive me. I've left my glasses in the lounge. We'll cut all this bit out, obviously, because it's nonsense. But I'll go and get my glasses.
I sent it
on
to
my
the
head.
chat.
Senior moment. They were on my head. Senior moment. Should we keep that in?
Yeah.
Let's keep that in. Oh, God. The trials and tribulations of being 50-odd. Right. So, supporters survey results. Have you opened the PDF? I must admit, I didn't bother yet. I might do one day.
No, I haven't opened the PDF, but I put the headlines in our group chat.
So just to remind everyone, the PSD did a survey along with them putting out a plea for your 5 best players, which we covered, and obviously 5 joke players from you two, for the mural. Well, they haven't announced the mural yet. They haven't announced who's in the mural. Maybe that will come at the weekend. But apparently, only 99% of supporters think that the Jimmy Dickinson statue was a success.
That was exactly one of the points I wanted to make as well. Who are the 1%? Who are the 1%? No, it's cool, man. I agree with you. It's like I read that and was like, how is that not 100%?
Apparently, it was less than 1%.
What's up with you, Jamie?
I am the 1%.
Apparently, it was 0.6%. Was that you, mate?
It was me. I am probably the entirety of that 0.6%. And I didn't mean it as a I'm not happy with the statue. I think the statue's great, but I think it's it's a whatever, it's a success. But I wasn't born when Jimmy Dickinson played for Pompey, so in all honesty, throwing all I'm supposed to be this way to the wind, I don't care. I don't care about Jimmy Dickinson. I just want to play. Put a statue of Guy Whitnam up, and I'll be there. I'll be clapping all the way, and I'll be the 99% then. But yeah, and it's just because I don't know who he is. I can't even watch him on YouTube. So to me, it's put up a statue of a guy I don't know. Yeah, I don't give a shit. But yeah, I'm glad everyone else. I'm glad the 99% are happily clapping away at that statue.
You could probably see him running or walking very, very fast in a Pathé newsreel.
Okay.
Those do exist. It's probably some Pathé newsreels of him playing for England, or maybe even Pompey winning the championship. But yeah, I mean, you wouldn't really want to make a tactical analysis of his play out of those videos. So yeah.
I think it's great for keeping his legacy alive, though. I mean, he's until somebody gets more than 48 caps for England while playing for Pompey and wins 2 league titles as our captain. I think it's great that kind of it keeps that sort of thing alive. And hopefully, I know that not everyone's going to care, but there might be some people who find it interesting. And I certainly, for one, think it's a fantastic statue.
My son, who's obviously only 7, 8 soon. He doesn't know a lot of facts, but one of the things he does know is that Jimmy Dickinson was never booked in the entirety of his career, and if you ever ask him, he'll tell you that. So,
he was also the club's manager at one point, so
he was. He did everything apart from clean the toilets, I think, at one point, because it's in the early 70s. The club did not have a pot to piss in. He kind
of was the Guy Whittingham of the era in a way, wasn't he? He was the ex-player who was there when there was nobody else wanted the job and we were in free fall. So
that's right. Yeah. Anyway, so we're not convincing you, Jamie. We shouldn't. Are you not going to change your mind?
No, I'm pleased that the statue's there, but on the questions when they went out, I just put, all right, I'm not over the moon about the statue. I don't think it's all right. All right, calm down.
So you don't walk past the tip your cap then? No,
I don't know who he is.
Tipping of the caps. No. Well, go and have a look at his statue, then you'll find out. So what was one of the other stats?
I'd recognise him. Sorry, Mel.
Well, you would. You've probably sat on his face in the Fratton, haven't you?
Must have been drunk.
As usual. 91% of supporters believe the matchday experience has improved in the last 2 years. Probably for one season, that's the results, isn't it? I think the point some people have made previously is it doesn't matter how good your pint is. If the team's shit, then you're not going to really enjoy yourself, are you? And it is the football that ruins the day, or gets in the way of your day. Generally, if you go to a football match, you meet your mates, you have a few drinks, maybe some food afterwards, and a good old chat, a chin wagons, and a song. If the team then gets whacked 4-0, that kind of takes the shine off it, really, doesn't it? So you're not going to really.
But if you've had a shit game and then you can't get a beer within 15 minutes and you get a shit pie, that don't help.
No. That does compound things, yeah. So I was fair enough. I'll take it all back. The pie and the pints are usually the winners in the day.
I think part of the atmosphere and experience, though, is now that we've got all these 4 sides in as well. So I know it's much more recently than like the last 2 years, but God, it's helped with the atmosphere, hasn't it, as well? Especially that blue army coming from all angles.
Yep. Yep. The players and the manager have said that, haven't they?
Mm. I've noticed that, like, just so surprising hearing the Milton end, like, starting songs compared to the fact I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic.
Just waiting for the Milton end to say, Fratton, give us a song.
Hopefully they'll hear this and you'll spare them on,
mate. So what else? This is one thing I did mark them down on. So 70, and to be fair, there's nothing the club can do, but I just don't understand the points system. I don't get it. Well, I've been a season ticket holder for a few years now, and but I don't seem to have accrued many points. So I don't know how it works.
It's changed this year. You will get points for because you're a season ticket holder. You'll get points for every home game now. Whereas before you only got points for away games and cup matches.
But that goes for every other season ticket holder as well. So I'm not catching them up. So I've got 29 points now, I think, which still leaves me in tier 4 for the away ticketing. So just to read the stats, 74% of supporters are happy with the club's away ticketing policy. So I'm in the 26%, a much larger minority than your 0.6%, Jamie. But
Well, I was with you at the 26. If you want some company.
Oh, good. Thank you very much. Yeah, solidarity, brother. So I'd like some more. I'd like some better clarity on how to get points. I mean, I know obviously if I bought away tickets, I get more points, but I can't buy away tickets because I haven't got enough points. So I could buy tickets for useless cup games at the start of the season, but then if we don't get promoted, we haven't got any useless cup games at the start of the season for the Carabao Cup or whatever. The Johnson Paints Trophy or whatever it is called now. It's the
Crap Cup,
the under 21 Cup. Yeah, that's it. The Pizza Cup. That's the one. So I don't know. I don't know how to get out of it. And it's something. I'm not happy with the club. I as you know, Jamie, and probably a few other people who listen to this, I was not keen on selling to the Isers for very good reasons, not just because I wanted it to be a fan-owned club. I didn't believe some of the stuff that was being said about the state of the club, and other people were telling me it wasn't true. And I was against the sale, but that was a long time ago now. And I think to be fair and to be honest, they have done a good job in terms of sorting out the infrastructure. They have spent a lot of money. But we've got to remember that that's an investment. It's not, they're not spending money they're not going to recoup. They bought the club for £5 million, and they've got a club that's probably worth 20, 30, 40 million pounds now if they were to sell it, especially in the Championship. So it's not that they haven't spent money wisely. They have, and I think they've done as much with the old girl as they can do now. The big test will be if we are in the Championship for a couple of years and we're selling out, and they're going to have to think about redoing the North Stand and the Fratton End, which is going to be a lot of money, without any question.
Yeah, well, I think if you get me started talking about the Eisners, we'll be here for a very, very long time. So it's probably best not to do that. But the one thing I will say is that I've been very vocal about it online, as you two both know. They have won me over this season simply not because we're winning the league, because they listened. I had a right old moan, and they seem to have listened. I shook Cullen's hand at the thank you for saving the club do we were at. And I looked him in the eye and I said, do me a favour, pass the message on to the Eisners. You get what you pay for. And since that day, they've gone out, they've spent some money on the squad. We've actually bought our own players, shocker. And, touch wood, in a few weeks' time, we'll see the rewards of that. But to bring you back on your point about points making prizes for the tickets. So Dave, the guy I sit next to, we are seriously considering buying away season tickets next year, which apparently is a thing. I didn't know that was a thing. You can buy an away season ticket, and if we don't go, we don't go, but we get to then have our pick and choose of the games that we go to. And I know that's a first world problem.
I think that's available to coach parties and groups like Westwood and his cronies that go in the van. Those. So they're. I don't know how you apply for it. Like you say, it's not on the website. It's kind of to supporters only. So Banksy does all the coaches. I expect that he is guaranteed a number of tickets to sell to his coaches. So that's effectively an away season ticket. And like I say, select other people get it as well. But there's no. I don't see an opportunity apart from you doorstepping Andy Cullen again and saying, excuse me, how do I buy an away season ticket? Because that isn't a thing that's available through the ticketing system. Not say you can't have one, but I think it's only... So this is another thing, that the amount of tickets that are available for sale, you've got to take off the hundreds that are taken up by supporters clubs, coach companies, people who are in the know and get tickets that way. So, it might say, we've got an allocation of 2,300. Well, you can strike off probably 500 of those before you even start, if not more, because they're already sold to people who go to every away game, like coach companies. So, yeah, it's frustrating. I've got like I said, a son, a 7-year-old, absolutely Pompey mad, wants to go to all these away games, and we can't get tickets. Not that I'm saying we should be given any special treatment, but we've only been to one this year, and I had to get my friend from London to buy 2 adult tickets on other people's season tickets. So that's the only way I've been able to get tickets.
Mate. You should head down to Fratton Park, bang on the door, say, "Don't you know I fucking am?"
Yeah. I don't think that'll work anymore, to be honest. Not that it worked in the past. I don't think it'll work anymore.
Saviour of Portsmouth Football Club can't get a ticket.
Yeah, I think you overstate that, to be honest, mate. But there we go. All right, cool. Any other things that jumped out from the survey, or was that it?
I think there was one more on there. The bit about the supporters are least happy about transport links to the stadium and the youth academy. I thought that was interesting after the article that came out today about some academy players being released.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what you thought of that.
So twofold thoughts on that. The one fold is that Eisner himself put that part in about the transport links because he wants us to buy him a railway station because he can't afford one. And what's going on with the youth academy? That was part of their pledge when they bought the club. Oh, we want to make money by investing in the youth, and they just haven't, have they? So,
they were going to find the Justins and Britneys of the football world, weren't they, and bring them through to be superstars. But I think they probably underestimated how difficult that was going to be, personally. But yeah, it's kind of disappointing to see there's like 11 of the 12 third, whatever they are, being released, and there's one Kobe Moto's going to be given 2 weeks to train with the first team. So that fella Destiny Ojo, who looked quite decent earlier on, is obviously on his way. His destiny is elsewhere.
I think this is the start of the rowing back of bringing kids in. I think this is the end of it. I think what Richard Hughes and Andy Cullen want to do is get the 18, 19 and 20-year-olds that don't make it at other academies or other Premier League clubs or whatever, like Brentford have done, like Brighton have done, and various other clubs at that level when they were in the Championship. Have done. They've basically stopped getting kids in at the ages of 12, 13 and 14 and then spent 5 years developing them. And then, as you say, sorry, you're not good enough, off you go. They're going to try and bring in, get more money, get more value for money, bring in kids of 17 or 18 who show promise and have been at top academies but haven't quite made it and are dropping down the divisions, and give them a year or two and see if they make it, rather than start from very young ones. Because I think Jeff said about the scouting for Portsmouth is not very good, and traditionally, I don't think has ever had a very good reputation or been very good. And in the last 20 years, you could argue they've been wasting their time, because you've had Chelsea, Brighton, Bournemouth, and whoever else come down here and start up academies and hoover up all the best kids. So they're swimming in a pool that's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and you've got to think about, why would they bother anymore? Why don't you just go out there and get the 17 or 18-year-olds? Zach Swanson's a great example. I mean, was he 19? Maybe 20 now. So we got him a couple of years ago, didn't we? And he was one that came out of Arsenal's academy.
And you could argue that you miss out on the Mason Mounts, though.
Well, Mason Mount was never ours, was he? Mason Mount was at Chelsea from the age of 7.
But only because we were shit and didn't take him. He was offered here first. He was a Pompey fan.
You've got to, but you look at any kid. You ask any kid who's got ability, they'll say to you, "Okay, Pompey want you and Chelsea want you. What are you going to do?"
Sure, yeah, I'll get your point.
And you've got to throw the parents' opinion in there as well.
His dad was quite famous in the local football scene as well, wasn't he, Tony Mount?
Yeah, yeah. So I think any parent, whether they were the biggest Pompey fan or not, they would want the best for their kid, and they want them to go to the better academy, because they would get better training. It's as simple as that. So I think, just looking at it from face value, I think we're pulling out of that kind of development and going for starting at an older level and saying, right, okay, we'll get 17, 18-year-olds out of the academy and see if we can put 2 years into them max, and see if we can get anyone who's going to graduate into the first team. I don't think Motto will make it.
So I read this week. I like a read. I've read that every single one of the players that was dropped were dropped because they didn't believe that they would ever be championship worthy. But I think it's just really ironic to do that when our team is just about to win promotion, led by a captain who was dropped from this team because Steve Cotterill didn't think he was good enough.
Yeah, absolutely. But we could build a whole Pompey team who would do well in the Championship out of players that have left. Joel Ward, Matt Ritchie, Chaplin, a few and a few others. Adam, what's his name? Who's at Adam Webster? Who's at Brighton? Was at Brighton. I don't think he's been playing much this season, but he's been playing in the Premiership. And a couple of years ago was tipped to possibly step up to England. So we have, for whatever reason, financial probably, have had to let these players go, and they've gone on to be successful. But you can't tell. You can never tell. It's a gamble, isn't it? And I would rather do it the other way. Pick someone up from another club where they have let go, and then you see something in them, and then they prove themselves, rather than the other way around.
Yeah, because we have got quite a few sort of 21, 22 and under players, haven't we, in the first team? So, like you said with Zach, the players we're bringing in aren't there for like a reserve team or an under 21s, 23s, whatever you call it. They're there to be in the first team squad. There's quite a few of those players, and whether they're permanent signings or we've had some super loan signings as well. So it'd be interesting to see if hopefully we're going to go up after beating Shrewsbury in a couple of weeks' time, like you said, that we'll kind of maybe have a look at, maybe in the Championship, maybe we'll have another look at that. But yeah, is it economically viable to keep bringing all these kids through and releasing them again when you can just do the model that we said? So
it's just an impression I get, and it's kind of the way that a lot of clubs have gone in League One Championship. They may have development academies for example, Pompey in the Community have development academies, so they have boys and girls teams up to the age of 16. And they do that for community issues. They're not doing it really to provide fodder for the first teams, because possibly the ladies, they might have a bit more chance because they're at a slightly lower level. But at the moment,
you're allowed to say that.
I think that's fair. I think I
agree with you.
The ladies team, it'd be great if we could win the league and they could win the league at the same season. That would be awesome, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I think the step up from where they're semi-professional, to the next league is a big jump, the same as it is from League One to Championship, I think. But I don't think that the community are doing their soccer programs to find the next Pompey star. They're doing it because they're doing it for the community, and the club seems to be rowing back with this, youth academy. So it'd be interesting to see what their stated ambitions are on that, because I don't think it's ever worked really that well. As we said, we get the odd one or two which we've had to let go for financial reasons. But we don't have a conveyor belt, and I don't think any club does these days. Manchester City do, but then they have, and Chelsea, but they have reserve squads of 60, 70 kids or 60, 70 teenagers. So you'd hope at least one of those would be good. So yeah, it's an interesting point. I don't know what people's were unhappy about, but if they're expecting a whole team of kids to come through, that's never going to happen. So they'd have to temper their expectations with that.
So I was one of the unhappy people, and I believe that if you
again.
Yeah, of course, I'm always unhappy.
There's a theme.
I'm not happy unless I'm
going here. There's a theme.
I genuinely believe that if you want something to happen in every aspect of life, you have to work at it. And if you work at it, you get something. And if Pompey are just going to go, you know what, we can't be bothered. And the thing that winds me up the most is, again, there's a billionaire saying, it costs too much. So that's going to piss me off. But yeah, I think we could. I think we could do it if we wanted to. We just don't want to. And so,
is cost too much the wrong word? Is he saying it's not cost effective instead of it costs too much?
That's what I was.
Is that what he means?
Yes, yeah. Just like it wasn't cost effective to keep Connor Chaplin. And it's that kind of. That's why I'm pissed off, because it's just short sightedness. It's not necessarily you've got to speculate to accumulate. The meme exists for a reason, and I just don't think we are owned by people who don't like to gamble, and I can respect that. And like I said, they have shut me up this season. We're we're doing amazing this season. The club looks the best. The ground looks the best I've ever seen it in my life. But if I was a billionaire, I'd have a little bit more fun.
Yeah, I don't think anyone could
to-
argue against that. Sorry, Tim, go on.
Sorry, Scott, I didn't mean to cut across you then.
No, go.
Did Connor go because we wouldn't offer him a deal or something? I thought he went up a division and it was his ambition to leave. I thought, but I could be wrong on that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I think he was one of many players, wasn't he, that left all at the same time because they wanted too much money, And
I don't know. I thought he went to a championship club, Barnsley, possibly. I could well be wrong.
Watmore went as another one we missed.
Watmore,
but then he
was
you
one,
know, he's never, bless him, he's never been able to play more than 6 games at a time because of his injury problems. He just seems to be made of glass. So getting money for him was possibly a good idea in that case. I don't know, but what was the last one we haven't covered? So we did away ticketing. We did Jimmy Dickinson. Boo, says Jamie. 91% of the supporters believe matchday experience has improved in the last 2 years. Yeah, we agree with that. And least happy about transport links to the Stadium Youth Academy. So I think, we've covered all that. Right, come on, let's wrap up. Let's wrap up with some positivity, guys. Let's have your predictions for Wickham and Bolton for the next 2. I think I've nailed my colours to a solid performance, away win, maybe 1 or 2 goals difference for Pompey, and at least a draw at home to Derby. So that's what I'm going to go for. I make no apologies. What do you think?
Go on, Jamie.
I think Wickham's going to be a draw, and I'm going to say we're going to beat Derby. But Tim,
you're going to do it the other way around. I'm not going to argue with that. 4 points on the next 2 games would still absolutely delight me. Not going to worry about that. Whichever way we around to do it, I'd rather beat Wickham and then have the opportunity to do another fantastic Tuesday night result like we did against Bolton and beat Derby as well. And that really would, 2 wins out of the next 2. That puts us on 89 with 5 games to go.
I'm looking at Blackpool.
It's just easy, isn't it?
I'm looking at Blackpool. We drew against Blackpool away. On paper, Wickham are a better team in
similar
better form.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking the draw away, and we do seem to, the fans just suck that ball over the line at home. So I'm hoping we can have another Oxford type atmosphere for Derby.
Well, I'm going to go for 2 wins. Just because that's the way I'm feeling about things at the
moment.
That's the positivity
I wanted. That's the positivity. That's the positivity.
We're going to have another Peterborough-like performance at Wickham, and then I'm going to go for 3 or 4-0 against Derby. I just think we're going to absolutely go for it, and we're going to see this team absolutely look like the League One title winners. I certainly hope that's what I'm going to see, but I don't sort of see why not at the moment. I think we've got players coming back. We've had so many changes. We keep delivering all the time. This new fella Evans, who apparently was in the form of his life at Ipswich before he had that knee operation, I think he's going to be fit for the next game. There's probably others that are going to be back as well. Fantastic selection problem of who's going to play up front, and like you said earlier, Mousinho is going to play horses for courses on that one. I'm going to boldly state 2 wins. Come on, play up Pompey.
Cheers, mate.
And on that subject,
go on, Jamie.
I was going to say, I think Stevenson, Lowry, Lang and Sadie are likely to be in contention this weekend.
It's tasty, isn't it?
Look at that. If only we could field 15 players, that would make things so much easier, wouldn't it? Eh? Then we could play 2 up front. John, are you listening? But just to end this 4th episode, thanks guys for joining me. Absolute pleasure as usual. So if you just look at the table, 39 games played, most games won, Pompey. Least games lost, Pompey. Second in draws, only equalled Barnsley, and second only to Lincoln, who, as you said earlier, Jamie, are on fire and are looking really good for a playoff place. Goals against, Pompey, best in the division. We're the best in division on so many stats that I can't see us throwing it away in the last 6 games. So I hope I'm right. I hope we get the 96 points and the 90 at least to get promoted. But we will talk again in a couple of weeks. Thanks, gents. Good night, and thank you very much for joining me. And I hope everyone enjoys listening to this. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.